They really gave a perceived title challenger a really good going over. I know they were at home and didn't quite follow it up at Manchester United, but they didn't lose. But I was really impressed with the victory. They've got to put that on the road, though. That's perhaps something they haven't done over the last few years. It's a new manager. Maybe Unai Emery can work the magic. But they're building up confidence, aren't they? And they're rotating players. Everyone's getting a game. I suppose the big question mark about Arsenal is whether Mesut Ozil has a future.
Absolutely, yes. He says there certainly seems to be some doubts over him, and the one area where Arsenal are in a little bit of trouble at the moment, injury-wise, is Mustafi and Holding are both out with injuries. Holding now, of course, getting a long-term injury, but Laurent Koscielny made his first appearance for Arsenal in the game on Thursday against Karabakh, and he's in the starting 11 this afternoon as well. It's Arsenal now trying to get forward. Ball from Lichtsteiner, though, drops straight to Vestergaard. It's picked up now by Oriol Romeu here for Southampton. He goes back in towards Bednarek, who looks for options. One of those is out on the right-hand side. Chance now for Valeri to bring this ball forward for Nathan Redmond. Blocked at the edge of the area by Xhaka, but it's still Redmond. Gets the ball into the box, which is quickly blocked off and cleared away there by Koscielny. Out for a throw to Southampton just around about the halfway line. Certainly the Saints looking to try and get into some possession early on, and as Rob mentioned, Arsenal are a very poor side in the first half this season. I think saw a league table somewhere. I think they'd be in the bottom 5 if it was just the first half of every game that counted, but certainly they'd be very high up the table if it was just the second half, because they really do come on strong in the second 45. But they're pushing forward now down the left hand side here with Alex Iwobi, just blocked by the returning Jan Valeri. It will be a throw to Arsenal down the left hand side, level with the edge of the penalty area. So first chance for the Gunners to try and push forward. They're in their change sky blue strip this afternoon, and it's just a short throw. He won't be getting the ball back down this left hand side now for Monreal. He gets it back to Iwobi. He's got some space to pick out a cross. Does pick out a cross. It's just a little bit overhit, though. There were 3 Arsenal players to aim for in the box, but he just overcooks it and goes out for a goal kick.
Yeah, he's getting a run in the side, isn't he, Iwobi? And he does look like he's got talent. Whether he can string it together, for a whole 90 minutes or a whole run of games. I mean, he has, I think he rarely sees out 90 minutes, doesn't he? But Unai Emery rings the changes in his side this season. But he seems to be keeping faith with Iwobi. I thought Ramsey made a big difference when he came on against Tottenham, but he's only on the bench today. Mkhitaryan's back in the lineup today. I mean, it's weird to try and work out what this Arsenal side's all like, because they can't win at half-time, but they then come up with the goods, and there's probably a lot of changes being made. I mean, Mesut Ozil's another option on the bench. Ball over the top.
Oh, a great ball over the top here from Guendouzi to Aubameyang, who fires it, and it's a decent save there by McCarthy. It goes out for a corner kick to Arsenal. It was a lovely ball over the top from Guendouzi, who's certainly been getting the plaudits since he's been signed in the summer. No offside there, as Vestergaard was coming back to try and stop the run, and it's a decent strike and a decent save as well. And as Rob mentioned, of course, it's quite incredible to think that you've got Ramsey, Lacazette and Ozil, all 3 of them on the bench this afternoon for Arsenal. You think that one of those 3 would get in ahead of Iwobi, really, but he's still getting the chance. It's Saka's out-swinging corner kick headed away by Vestergaard back towards the halfway line. Guendouzi remained there as the last man. He slips a little bit as well, but he just about gets his balance and picks himself up before Armstrong gets to him. And eventually the ball is rolled all the way back towards Bernd Leno anyway. And the goalkeeper now looking up to see if he can try and send this one long. He just plays it across towards the right-hand side now for Hector Bellerin. He's under pressure from Armstrong, so he plays a long ball up, which is headed on by Aubameyang, but the loose ball won't get towards Mkhitaryan. It's now picked up by Bednarek, and he goes out towards the right-hand side for Valeri. Goes back in towards Højbjerg. And Southampton, they'll know, of course, that it'll be important for them to get a good start. With the way that Arsenal don't play particularly well in the first half, it'll be important for the Saints to try and have a lead before the break, or at least not be a goal down, because then, of course, traditionally Arsenal can come on even stronger in the second 45. At the moment, it is Southampton. They're just stuck a little bit on the halfway line, but now a ball stabbed through by Højbjerg for Redmond. Redmond's moving forward now. He's getting towards the edge of the area, and there's plenty of space here on the left-hand side for Target. Target's ball in. Doesn't quite reach its intended target of Danny Ings, and the ball is eventually swept away by Monreal. Now it's picked up on the halfway line by Aubameyang, and he feeds it into Mkhitaryan. He's got loads of space through the middle. Southampton are completely open. Mkhitaryan takes a shot, which is well charged down by Vestergaard, and he has his arms aloft saying, well, where was everybody else? Because suddenly, from not much effort really, Arsenal found a huge gap through the middle.
Yeah, massive gap. I'm disappointed with Mkhitaryan there, actually, because he's one-on-one with the defender, and he hasn't done anything other than shoot into the defender. He didn't try and take him on for pace or trickery or anything. So I think that was just a bit of a tame effort in the end from Mkhitaryan. But the break there was good from Arsenal. They were obviously defending a 1 minute, and then all of a sudden the midfield of Southampton seemed to disappear, and they had a chance. I don't think they made best use of it.
No, they certainly didn't. That would have frustrated Emery as well. Certainly would love to see Arsenal get a good start in the first half as well, to really put this game to bed as soon as possible. There is quite a large difference, 23 points separating Arsenal and Southampton, which after 16 games is quite a lot really. Arsenal, of course, in 5th place, Southampton the second bottom, only avoiding last place in the league via goal difference. Fulham, of course, absolutely leaking goals, which is why they're bottom of the league. But now it's Arsenal pushing forward again. Guendouzi to Aubameyang. His ball to Mkhitaryan is picked up, but now it's straight towards Nathan Redmond, and a chance for Southampton to push forward. Redmond just gets stuck with the ball, and Vestergaard is up there as well, trying to assist in the attack. He just rolls the ball towards Armstrong. Armstrong on the left-hand side now, leaving it for Target. Then the ball going out wide towards that left-hand side, towards the edge of the area. But Lichtsteiner is there before Nathan Redmond. The ball is cleared towards the halfway line. It's Armstrong and Yoshida run into each other there. Two Southampton players colliding, but eventually the ball does go out for a throw to Arsenal. Quick start really from both sides. It looks like both sides are trying to get on the attack as early as possible.
We have to say, if you're Southampton, you'd fancy at least getting chances, if not scoring goals against this back four. I mean, Lichtsteiner's, obviously getting on a bit, but he's not usually playing as a centre-back. Koscielny's only just back from injury. And of course, Arsenal, their defensive record away from home is pretty poor. 1 clean sheet in 17. So if you're Southampton, you've got to be at least thinking we've got chances to score. Whether you can keep Arsenal out enough at the other end is open to debate. Arsenal have only created the one chance of the game so far, and there's a decent opportunity for Mkhitaryan on the break. But I do think Southampton should at least be confident they're going to test Bernd Leno.
Absolutely, they certainly need to believe that they're going to get enough space and enough opportunity to do that. It's whether or not they can take those chances. I mean, they've got a couple of players out injured, and he's obviously made the changes as well. Ralph Hasenhüttl this afternoon. His options on the bench as Arsenal go on the attack, but there's an offside flag against Iwobi. He's got Hoyt, Long, Davis, Austin, Ward-Prowse, Johnson, and goalkeeper Gunn on the bench this afternoon. For Arsenal, it's El Neni, Ramsey, Lacazette, Ozil, Maitland-Niles, Nketiah, and goalkeeper Petr Cech. So certainly both sides giving themselves some attacking options for later in the game if needs be. It's Southampton in possession on the halfway line. Danny Ings, Arsenal appealing that he was returning from an offside position. The flag doesn't go up, but he's able to go back towards Vestergaard on the halfway line, now over towards the left-hand side for Target. Back to Vestergaard again. He's looking up and he just sends a long ball through the middle there, looking perhaps for the run of Danny Ings. But Leno comes out of his own box to control that one. Didn't want to wait for it to actually drop into his penalty area. Clears it up towards Aubameyang. He plays it back to Mkhitaryan, and Arsenal now have possession inside the Southampton half. It's back with Torreira on the halfway line. Just skipping away from Armstrong before playing it out towards the left-hand side now for Granit Xhaka. It's a slightly different midfield setup here from Arsenal. Xhaka there as he's just trodden on Redmond. Well, Redmond certainly went down in pain there, but I don't think the referee was necessarily thinking about giving a free kick. Arsenal actually stopping play there and actually putting the ball out of play as well. Guendouzi deciding that Redmond is in a bit of trouble there.
Yeah, I don't know whether he's just stretched something, because Xhaka was in possession of the ball and Redmond is obviously just trying to block his attempted pass backwards, and he might just have overstretched. He might have just trod on it.
It doesn't look like there's much of a tread, like a stamp down, is there?
It doesn't look like there's contact, so he might have just perhaps tweaked his ankle a little bit, so that'll be a worry. He's getting treatment now.
So early stages at St Mary's, it's Southampton 0, Arsenal 0. In the first couple of minutes it was Southampton trying to push forward. Ralph Hasenhüttl has made a few changes to the formation and to the personnel from the start this afternoon. But then after that, Arsenal started to see a little bit more of the ball. They had a very good chance as well when the ball was played through the middle. Mkhitaryan was pretty much one-on-one with the last defender, Vestergaard, but he couldn't quite get past him. There was also an excellent chance for Aubameyang after a ball from midfield from Guendouzi over the top, and a strike from Aubameyang was well saved by McCarthy. Slight break in play now as an injury concern for Nathan Redmond for Southampton, but at St Mary's it is Southampton 0, Arsenal 0.
Yeah, in fairness, he didn't stay down too long there, Redmond. He's gone off the pitch having got to, he's just run back on, so hopefully it's just a momentary tweak and nothing too serious, but we'll try and keep an eye on that one. Southampton haven't quite got going as an offensive unit as yet. They had that one moment where Target had space down the left, on a breakout, but his crossing was dealt with, and that of course led to an Arsenal chance. Arsenal are dominating possession, or certainly on top in terms of possession, but a fairly even start to the game. Southampton are at home, but obviously Arsenal are a better side, so I think both sides have been reasonably happy so far.
Yes, I'd agree with that. I think that Southampton will probably, they would have accepted that at some stage in this game they aren't going to be second in terms of the possession. It's just a case of what they do with the ball when they have got a chance, and obviously keeping Arsenal at bay. Well, Southampton are second bottom, not just in terms of their league position, they're also second bottom in terms of goal scorers. Huddersfield with 10 goals this season, Southampton 13, and then Palace and Newcastle both on 14, although Palace and Newcastle both getting wins yesterday. Fulham going down to home to West Ham, and Huddersfield as well, of course, still very much in that bottom three as well. It's getting a little bit tight down there as well. And if you look up above Newcastle, who are 14th on 16 points, and then it's Brighton on 21. So there's a sort of a bottom five, bottom six being created in that in the Premier League now. And I'm sure that all the sides in that bottom six will be looking for a Christmas period to try and get away from it. But it's going to be very difficult here for Southampton. Although they're trying to push forward now with Nathan Redmond under a bit of pressure, but he's still holding on to the ball. He's got Target out wide. Redmond decides to take a shot himself, which takes a big deflection. Leno knew it was probably going to go wide, but he tried to dive across to stop it going for a corner. Couldn't quite do so, and it will be a corner to Southampton.
He's just finding little bits of space, hasn't he, Redmond, in the game so far. Obviously hasn't quite led to an awful lot, but he's got a decent shooting opposition here. There's two ahead of him, though, so perhaps he needs to do a little bit more with the ball. Could have used Target out on the left, opted to go for goal, and it's won the first set piece there. As good a chance as any for Southampton to score a goal here.
Absolutely, but they do have a back three, don't they? Bednarek, Vestergaard and Yoshida, all three of them are threats in the air, and it's going to be an outswinger here from Stuart Armstrong towards Vestergaard, who's at the edge of the 6-yard box. It's headed up in the air. Bit of miscommunication there with, I think it was Koscielny and his goalkeeper Leno. Koscielny immediately with his arm up apologising there, because I think the keeper may have called for it. Højbjerg gets the loose ball and tries to cross it in, but runs that one straight into Stefan Lichtsteiner, and then he goes up towards Iwobi on the halfway line, who goes down. Is not going to be given as a free kick, though. Referee Chris Kavanagh is not interested. And now it's with Vestergaard just inside the Southampton half. Plays it to Romeo. He goes back in towards Yoshida. And the home side are just looking to slow things down here after that set piece didn't quite go to plan. It's now with Yoshida. Goes back towards his goalkeeper McCarthy. Iwobi is there just to put a bit of pressure on the keeper, but he sends a long ball now, McCarthy, towards the halfway line. Just slices it slightly, and it won't be kept in play by Valeri. Throw on to Arsenal now on their left-hand side. Picked up by Nacho Monreal. Going back in towards Koscielny. And it's 15 minutes gone now at St Mary's. Southampton 0, Arsenal 0. I think that Southampton will probably be quite pleased with the start that they've made. But Arsenal now just looking to try and get a bit of an advantage again. Strong challenge there from Højbjerg. I think he did deflect the ball off Mkhitaryan there. So it will be a throw to Southampton around about the halfway line on the left-hand side. Of course, there is a second game going on this afternoon at 1:30 as well.
Yeah, it's obviously fairly big for the top of the table. Brighton goalless with Chelsea at the moment. A top four rival for the Gunners. But you mentioned Southampton's goals. I mean, you look at this side, it's not exactly teeming with creativity. I mean, if Redmond isn't doing it, you know, you're just wondering where it's come from. I suppose Armstrong has chipped in with goals this season, but I mean, Ings has been a spectator so far. He's not getting much support, and it's a real struggle, I think, for the forward players. That's why they're struggling to score goals.
They are, yeah. I mean, they're certainly rotating their front men. There's no Gabbiadini even on the bench this afternoon. Austin is on the bench as well. He's another player. I've been really surprised actually that Mark Hughes almost never, certainly in the games that I did, I never saw Ings and Austin play together when they actually formed quite a good little partnership when they were together at Burnley. That was a good few years ago now, of course, but you just think that they've got to try and find some sort of combination that's going to give them more of a threat up front, as Southampton now lose possession at the edge of the Arsenal penalty area. It's Bellerin flicking it over towards Torreira. He plays it forward now for Guendouzi. Torreira was taken out there, but referee Kavanagh says play on, because Arsenal still have a move going here down the left-hand side. It's slowed down completely. Now, they probably would have preferred to have had the free kick, in all fairness, but Torreira's okay now, and we'll see if there's going to be a delayed yellow card. There may be a goal-scoring opportunity at the other game at the Amex. That game also available on our service, by the way, Brighton against Chelsea. We'll confirm if there's any goal action in that game, as Arsenal now just slowing things completely on the halfway line, going back in towards Koscielny. Now it's over on the left-hand side with Granit Xhaka. Playing it forward for Iwobi, and there's a bit of a stamp down there, an Arsenal player going down. Referee either doesn't see it or isn't interested in it. Now that's a really bad one there from Danny Ings. He's gone straight through Koscielny. How's the referee not given a free kick for that either? Two very strange decisions there from Chris Kavanagh. But here come Arsenal now with a player down still inside their own half. It's now back with Torreira. He plays it to Mkhitaryan. The game has completely slowed down. I think the Arsenal player is still down. It's Koscielny has now back up on his feet. And I'll take it all back if we see in a replay that it was all accidental and going for the ball. But to me, it seemed like a really bad stamp down there from Danny Ings. Guendouzi now going down. Torreira can't quite get onto the loose ball now. Potentially a chance for Southampton to go on the counter. It's being brought through the middle now by Højbjerg, playing it out towards the right-hand side for Redmond. He skips past two players and then gets it to Armstrong. Edge of the penalty area. Armstrong with the strike. It's a curling effort, which is well saved, though, by Leno.
Yeah, not a bad strike. In the end, it's forced to save. Obviously, they got into good positions, but not getting shots past defenders or good balls into the box. This time they have at least tested the keeper, and it was without numbers as well. There's only 3 up in attack, and it's not a bad strike. It just needed to be perhaps a foot firm, a yard further to the outside of the post and curling back in. Comfortable save in the end. Leno made it look easy. Just on the other points, the free kick for Koscielny would have been just outside his own box. I'm with the referee on this one. If Arsenal could break, what's the benefit of a free kick outside their own box?
I'm not sure that he even gave an advantage. I didn't think he even saw a foul there, and I just think that's... we'll see from a replay if we even get a replay. It may well be that I've overstated it, but I thought to me it was quite a bad one, which probably was due a yellow card. We do have a goal in the other game, Rob.
Yeah, Pedro has put... Chelsea in front, and Brighton, they've got some work to do. But, Pedro with the score. That's 1-0 to the Blues.
Yes, and still goalless here in our game as we approach 19 minutes. It's a throw on to Southampton on their left-hand side. Matt Targett standing with it, just throwing it back in towards Yannick Vestergaard, back in towards Targett. Arsenal putting a bit of pressure here on the two Southampton men. So Vestergaard going back towards Alex McCarthy, and the goalkeeper now sending a long ball diagonally towards the right-hand side for Valeri. It does head it up in the air, gets there before Monreal. It drops now towards Nathan Redmond, and he plays it back in towards Højbjerg. The visitors now having to backtrack as Southampton push forward. Here is Armstrong, gets it out to Targett, left-hand edge of the penalty area. Matt Targett with the early ball in, and it's 1-0 to Southampton. It's a really good ball in from that left-hand side, and Danny Ings getting in between two defenders there, heading it into the back of the net. Ralph Hasenhüttl sort of jumps up in the air initially, but then almost telling himself to calm down. But what a great goal for Southampton. It's
the first bit of quality that we've seen from a wide position. It's a brilliant ball in from Targett, and he's got to get it. Ings obviously isn't the tallest, and he's got Koscielny in front of him, but the cross itself, is he offside? That's a tight one. This is Targett actually before he picks it up, but he just made the space. The delivery is just superb, and Ings running onto it, 6-7 yards out, powers it past Leno. 1-0.
Yeah, it's a really good ball in from that left-hand side, and when Ings gets on the end of that, it wasn't too much of an attempt to try and get there from the Arsenal man. I think it was Koscielny sort of with a flying sort of kick trying to stop that, but when he misses it, there is Danny Ings, and it is Southampton that take the lead. So it is Southampton that take an early lead here at St Mary's with Danny Ings getting a goal. It was a good move down the left-hand side with Targett and Armstrong exchanging passes before the ball reached Matt Targett, left-hand edge of the penalty area, and he whipped a ball in towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Laurent Koscielny was the closest defender to it for Arsenal. He sort of stuck a leg out to try and get it in mid-air. He couldn't quite get there, and just behind him popped up Danny Ings with a bullet header straight into the goal, giving no chance for Bernd Leno. And Southampton will be delighted because Arsenal have had long spells of possession in this first half. They've had a couple of chances, but it is now Southampton that take the lead.
Yeah, cross in from Lichtsteiner from the right. Well, it's the right channel, really. It's just too straight, easy for McCarthy to claim. And just a little bit more energy about that Arsenal attack. I think they've been kind of going through the motions, settling into a game that they probably think they're going to win. And that opening goal might just... just give them the kick up the backside that perhaps some footballers need. Targett had all the time in the world to cross that in, and I don't know whether Koscielny was out of position or perhaps should have gone with his head. It's easy in hindsight, obviously, but it didn't look the most convincing effort to try and clear it either. But one-on-one in the box, and I just think we might see a bit more purpose about Arsenal. And I think this is where we'll see you know, the men from the boys, because I think Iwobi and Mkhitaryan, you know, are lucky to be in the starting 11 given who's on the bench.
Yeah, and they have to start proving that they're in that starting 11 for a reason, and if they're not, then there'll be changes at half-time or after an hour, say, and then the better Arsenal that tend to play in the second half may prove to be a real difficult job here for Southampton to try and cope with. But now the ball goes out of play here for the Saints on the left-hand side, and it's Matt Targett who had the assist for that goal with the ball now on the left-hand side, just waiting to see where his teammates are to get into a better position. Just looking up now, Matt Targett, no one getting close to him. And I'm sure Arsenal will be getting frustrated. Bellerin's already waving his arm, saying it's taking too long, but he does find Redmond, and then Redmond flicks it on towards Armstrong. Now it drops to Danny Ings. Ings with the strike from the edge of the area, and the ball is straight into the arms of Leno. It was Armstrong that picked the ball up after a flick on from Redmond, and now a short throw from Leno, and it's been lost here on the left-hand edge of the penalty area. An opportunity now. It was Granit Xhaka caught in possession there inside his own box. The ball now drops towards Højbjerg. He can't quite get the shots away, but Arsenal there looking very rattled after that goal. A couple of mistakes in defence, and Southampton almost capitalising on it. They've still got the ball at the edge of the area here, the Saints. Redmond, though, just tripping on himself there before giving the foul away against Guendouzi, just leaning on him, and it will be a free kick to Arsenal. Guendouzi and Redmond just tussling for the ball there, but it is a free kick. 23 minutes gone. We've crossed the halfway point of this first half. Southampton 1, Arsenal 0, and it will be Rob to take you through to half-time.
Yeah, surprising score in one sense, but Arsenal don't play well in the first half. They've proved that this season. They don't play well enough. They haven't led at the break. Admittedly, they've only been behind in 4 of those games, drawing 12, and there's a long time to go before half-time, relatively speaking. Just reading a stat before the game, Unai Emery has made the most changes before the second half of any manager, and I wonder if it's because he keeps starting Iwobi and Mkhitaryan, but that's just a cheeky little dig at those two players in particular. Arsenal, though, they need to up their game. Of course, Chelsea are leading in the other game away at Brighton, a top 4 rival. Of course, Spurs won yesterday, as did Manchester City. Liverpool play Manchester United later on today. Many will be thinking there's only one top 4 challenger in that pairing. But there's pressure on Arsenal to turn this around. Armstrong tries to win a throw-in. I think it was a double ricochet and actually came off him last on the halfway line. Hassan Hüttl looks very animated on the touchlines.
He does. He looks very animated, but if he could see the little sort of possession graphic that we can see now, he'd be very pleased with the fact that Southampton have had pretty much 3 times as much possession outside Arsenal's box than Arsenal have outside theirs, which after 25 minutes is quite a stat, really. It just goes to show that Arsenal are struggling to get forward. Yeah,
Iwobi tries to charge down the left-hand side, but just overruns it, and that allows Yoshida to clear into touch. Obviously seen the action area stats. I wonder what the possession stats are, because I've got a feeling Arsenal have been on top in that regard, so they're obviously possessing the ball, if I'm right, in the wrong areas or not being aggressive enough. The goal has certainly spiced up this game, though, isn't there? There's a bit more bite in the challenges, a bit more pace in the runners, and here's a chance for Valery down the right-hand side, getting in behind Monreal. He's right near the corner flag. He's trying to back up the Spaniard onto his left foot, offloads to Redmond just on the right angle of the area. Redmond is just sauntering across the edge of the 18-yard box, switches it over to Targett. It's back with Højbjerg, who dinks it in looking for Valery, but it's curling too much. That'll be through to the keeper. But the game's up. It's picked up.
It has. It certainly has. I think that Southampton can sense that Arsenal perhaps are not at the races yet, and Southampton obviously and Arsenal obviously know that they're a goal down, so they have to start trying to make this up. As we can see, Unai Emery on our screens there. That's an amazing stat, really, isn't it? For this season, Arsenal haven't been leading in any game, although they've only been losing in 4, in fairness, but they have been drawing in 12. But considering they've only lost twice this season, right at the very start to City and Chelsea, they really have done very well to recover in every other game so far.
Yeah, I mean, they're not quite as bad as Man United at the back, but 2 top 6 sides that have already conceded plus 20 goals. Arsenal, 21 goals they've conceded. Tottenham have conceded 16, which is the next best. Of course, Liverpool.
That's the real revelation for me this season. Liverpool, the fact that they're, with their goalkeeper and of course Van Dijk. Van Dijk's such a massive player for Liverpool as well, and there's going to be a big test for Manchester United this afternoon. That game at 4 o'clock, of course, available on our service as well. But in the meantime, here come Arsenal now down the right-hand side. Yeah, Mkhitaryan trying to combine with Bellerin, but slow it down, going back to Lichtstein on the halfway line. Torreira in field to Koscielny. Guendouzi
just crossing back into Southampton territory, feeding over to Xhaka on the left. He has been very left-sided in this game so far, but it's quite a deep left side. I'm not sure if he's just getting in the way of Monreal, who we haven't seen get forward too often. Torreira switches play, inviting Lichtsteiner forward down the right, with Bella into his outside, and he feeds the Spaniard now. Back in field though to Torreira, but they're making steady progress. As I say that, Torreira turns to go away from Romeo and passes back to the halfway line. Arsenal start again. Xhaka now to Iwobi, who's dropped deep, taking on two. Well, he's left two for dead. Teases it through. Monreal, can he get there? He can. Left-footed ball back to the penalty spot. Diving header, and that's past McCarthy. We have an equaliser. Mkhitaryan supplied by Monreal. It was a good ball. Nobody's picked up Mkhitaryan. I wonder if the keeper could have saved it. It's 1-1 though. Arsenal back on terms.
Yeah, Arsenal are back on terms. We'll just see this replay to see exactly how this move developed on the left-hand side. But it's good work from Arsenal. It's taken them a little while to get back into an attacking groove in this game. Really good work there from Iwobi, hugging that left touchline, feeding the ball out towards Monreal. And it's a good header from Mkhitaryan. I think McCarthy, you're right. I think he will be a little bit disappointed in himself because it's a ball that pretty much bounces just where his arm is and he just can't quite get it across in time.
Yeah, I don't know whether he's misjudged the bounce. It's bounced over his arm or under his arm. I mean, it's still a decent header and it's a tough save. Look at the ribbon. He might have just grazed a finger on it, but I mean, it's a free header 10 yards out. The defending is poor. We're back on terms.
So we have an equaliser at St Mary's. Didn't take long for Arsenal to get back into this one. Southampton 1, Arsenal 1. And it was a good move down the left-hand side. Alex Iwobi down the left side, moving forward towards the edge of the area, then rolling the ball towards the overlapping Nacho Monreal. And his ball into the penalty area was met superbly by Henrik Mkhitaryan with a good bullet header right into the bottom corner. Goalkeeper Alex McCarthy might be a little bit disappointed, though, because he was very close to making a save. The ball just bouncing away from his arm. But Arsenal, who have been a little bit poor in this first half so far, have responded well. It's now Southampton 1, Arsenal 1.
And Arsenal going forward down the right. Bellerin with a low ball in, but sliding interception from Bednarak has put it behind for an Arsenal corner. Could be the Gunners' first set piece. Weren't behind for too long, obviously, and now looking to, no, it's gone out for a throw-in rather, looking to take the lead, approaching half-time, which would be a first this season in the Premier League. That is Torreira into the box, squares it, tap it, oh no, defender got back, maybe it was slightly miscued by Aubameyang, who was waiting for it, defender slid in. It's probably a combination of the both. That looked like it was just a gaping net for Aubameyang just to slide it home, but Southampton escape. All of a sudden, a bit of energy down either flank, and Southampton are exposed.
Certainly, I mean, I thought that was just nailed on for Arsenal taking a quick lead in this game, but I think he's just been caught by the defender. The defender just got a touch on the ball as he's trying to get that shot away, which deflects it. Here comes Bellerin now, but he's been well marshalled by Matt Target.
Yeah, ball into, he's knocked it past the Target. Target's gone down. I mean, Target's doing his best just to be an obstruction, and arguably he's losing his own balance, but I think he's won a free kick. Looking at a rape. No, it's the defender who got there just out of Aubameyang. Brilliant from, I think it was Bednarak.
It was Bednarak, yeah. He does really well there to stop Aubameyang, and that would have been 2-1-2 Arsenal in just a couple of minutes.
I'm thinking Arsenal have actually changed their formation. It looks like, to me, they've dropped Xhaka back into back three.
It almost looks like, yeah,
Monreal and Bellerin.
I think you're right, because a couple of times we've seen Xhaka really over on that left-hand side, not just left side of midfield, but he does seem to be in a three there, which is quite unusual. I wouldn't have expected that. Yeah,
it appears to be a three. They're just pushing the full-backs further forward, and of course Monreal went past Iwobi to supply the first goal. Bellerin almost teed up Aubameyang for a second chance. And yeah, slight tweak of formation. Maybe one of these days, Emery will get it right from the start. Keeps making changes.
He does. Well, I mean, he's got a great squad to choose from, and he's trying to find the optimal solution. Could be just a case that he's almost trying to overcomplicate it sometimes. Perhaps in a couple of games he could have just left things as they are, but he tries to find a solution for every game, and it hasn't quite worked out at the start of this game. But Arsenal are back in this game now. There was a free kick to Southampton in the meantime, but Vestergaard's header from the cross goes over the bar.
Yeah, they're coming together just off the ball between Redmond and Monreal. Redmond took the worst of it, but it was entirely accidental. I mean, it's not that serious, but just for a moment Monreal was worried. Arsenal clear their lines up to the halfway line. Bednarek sends it back into the Arsenal half, but Torreira finds Xhaka. Now Monreal back to Xhaka, infield, back to the keeper, Bernd Leno. Danny Ings will give chase, and Armstrong's up there as well. Koscielny's about 10 yards from the goal line as he threads it down the line. He's found Mkhitaryan as well, closed down by Romeo, went down under the challenge, and he's going to get a free kick because Bellerin fallen into the deck after a challenge from target as well. They've taken it quickly, although perhaps too quickly. Romeo dispossesses Aubameyang, and Southampton have possession back with 32.5 minutes on the clock, one apiece at St Mary's, with of course Southampton having taken the lead, and Arsenal coming from behind again. Just slowing it down now as they just try and get comfortable possession, the Gunners. Romeo into the challenge on Torreira. He's got him in the backside, and it'll be a free kick. Might be a second goal down at the Amex, but we'll confirm that in a moment. Is Romeo getting a yellow card here?
Well, we'll see. I mean, the referee's having a word with him, isn't he? It's a knee to the backside, isn't it, of Torreira, and he certainly felt that. He's still down on the ground there, the Uruguayan, but so whether or not it's going to be I'm not sure it's going to be a yellow card, is it?
I think he's just getting a talking to from the referee at the moment. Second goal has gone in at the Amex, and sadly for Brighton, it's a Chelsea second. Good news for the Blues, obviously. Title challenge very much on, it would appear, at the moment. That second goal score I'll confirm in a moment, but Arsenal back on top possession-wise. But after, obviously the Southampton goal, Arsenal pressure to get an equaliser, and then 1 or 2 other half chances after that. It just seems to have gone back to the opening 10-15 minutes, kind of slowed down.
Yeah, it's almost like Southampton have tried to close things up a little bit to stop what Arsenal were doing, because Arsenal certainly looking more dangerous after they got that equaliser, and in the meantime it's sort of meant that Southampton have struggled to create their own chances as well. But it is now 2-0, as Rob said, to Chelsea. Eden Hazard with the second goal, and could turn into a long afternoon for Brighton there at the Amex, and Chelsea still looking very strong, of course, but for the moment Arsenal going to have to retake their goal kick. This is an offence that, watching football, certainly in my younger days, going back to say the 90s, you never saw a goal kick having to be retaken because it generally got punted out. But now, because all these teams play short goal kicks, it's actually quite a common thing to see a goal kick having to be retaken, and Arsenal have made a bit of a mess of it as well.
Yeah, they're trying to keep possession from the goal kick, but they've given Southampton a decent starting position, although the little flick from Højbjerg actually coughs up possession, the edge of the Arsenal box. Bednarek will force Iwobi into touch. Who did the ball come off last? It might have come off Iwobi actually, so the throw is Southampton's, only just inside Arsenal half, with just about 10 minutes left in the first period, plus whatever injury time the referee adds on. We haven't had too many stoppages, obviously a couple of goal celebrations. Iwobi tries some fancy footwork, doesn't quite work initially, then there's a fight for the ball, some real challenges going in. Højbjerg might have come off worst actually as he slid in on Guendouzi. Arsenal have forced back to Bernd Leno, who takes a real heavy touch and then fires it out to Lichtsteiner, who's closed down well by Armstrong. Clearly it's something that Unai Emery wants. He's not the only manager to want his keeper and his back four to be playing possession football.
No, and of course his original first keeper from the start of the season, Petr, has now become the regular bench player, but partly because he's not very good with his feet, and we saw that as early as the first game where he very nearly gave one away against Manchester City. But now Bellerin just being beckoned back a little bit, is moving too far forward from where the throw-on should be taken. And Arsenal just looking to try and get out of their own half again. But it's been an interesting first half. I've enjoyed it. 36 minutes gone here, and it's been quite an interesting sort of switch from one side to the other. And I think overall Southampton would say that they've had a good first half. There's a Danny Ings goes down just at the edge of the area, but there's no mention of any foul, and Arsenal playing on.
Yeah, ball over the top. Yoshida thought that was going to comfortably run through to his keeper, but had to sort of go after it. As it happens, McCarthy is sweeping up, but he has to come out of his area to clear his line. It's worked back fairly quickly towards Monreal, but again overhit, and this time McCarthy in his area can pick up. Ings is just trying to shake off whatever knock it was he took. Limping a little bit with 8.5 minutes to go to the break, and it's with Vestergaard on the edge of his own box. So I'll just put under pressure, launched into the Arsenal half, but Ings or Armstrong won't give chase. It's overhit, and Koscielny can start again for the Gunners. One apiece, of course, in this game. Chelsea leads Brighton 2-0 at the Amex. In the other, Liverpool play Manchester United at 4. The 3 Premier League games today, of course. There's another ball over the top, this time from Arsenal. Forces Yoshida to clear his lines. It's a big up and under the halfway line. Bellerin, though, finds Guendouzi. Torreira back to Koscielny, and Arsenal start again. Both sides got a bit direct in the last couple of minutes, and it isn't working. But
no, it doesn't suit either of them, does it? I think both sides are better when they try and play ball to feet. I mean, there were a couple of early balls from Arsenal. There was a lovely ball, wasn't there, from Guendouzi to Aubameyang, but that was more of a direct pass from distance rather than just a sort of long hit and hope, which, as I say, doesn't really suit either team. And Arsenal now just seeing a little bit more of the ball in these last couple of minutes, and they're trying to move forward now, but the pass from Mkhitaryan doesn't quite find Torreira. Yeah,
although Mkhitaryan, has he done well or has he done badly? He actually gave it away, but then forced the error, played it off Armstrong. It looked as though it ricocheted back off Mkhitaryan for an Arsenal throw, but maybe Mkhitaryan already crossed the line because the throw-in's given to the Gunners on the right-hand side on the halfway line with 7 minutes left in the first half. I mean, he scored, Mkhitaryan. Iwobi played his part in the build-up for that goal, but are they doing enough for you?
I think that, well, are they doing enough? They're certainly not putting huge amounts of pressure on Southampton, and they've been caught in midfield a couple of times. They've been caught in defence a couple of times as well. So no, you certainly can't say this has been a good Arsenal performance, but considering the fact they're not playing particularly well, they've recovered and had a couple of decent chances. But here comes Southampton now with Target. Yeah,
Target on the left in combination with Armstrong. It's the latter who feeds it back to Target, a little bit closer to the corner flag, although a little back heel doesn't work from Target. Having said that, Aubameyang, they're back there defensively, probably just to try and get involved in this game. Forces the throw in to the Southampton. They go back towards the halfway line and will try and build again. A nice turn from Redmond. Poor pass, though, straight to Monreal. And Arsenal have it just outside their own box. Xhaka, that's awful from him. He's giving it straight to Romeo. Now Redmond infield to Højbjerg, who can strike from distance, but hasn't yet. Is he lining up? No squares. It back out towards Redmond, just forces Redmond right to the touchline. And so a bit of momentum lost, but good position at the moment. Romeo tries to work a 1-2, finds Armstrong just on the edge of the D. Left-footed shot, slightly scuffed, easy save. Forced to save, but very comfortable. With a bit of pressure from Southampton.
Yeah, ends up with a shot from Armstrong, and as you said, didn't cause Leno any real problems. He just bowls it out now towards the left-hand side. But yeah, just that spring that Arsenal had just before they got their equaliser and just after, it's completely gone now. And again, they're almost caught in defence with Guendouzi being leaned on there by Ings, and I think it has actually been given as a free kick. I think it has been.
Yeah, it's about 5 minutes ago to the break. Arsenal got a free kick inside their own half, it's just gone into that sort of lull again, like Arsenal going through the motions a touch. Southampton just lacking a little bit of quality in the final third when they've had possession. And it remains at 1 apiece with Mkhitaryan trying to G up the troops right now. 5 minutes to the break. I'm not sure if there is an actual stoppage in play. Is somebody getting treatment? Getting close-ups of different people. It's currently the Arsenal manager, Unai Emery. And now it's Bednarek with a Southampton throw. He's going to go long down the line. He's inside his own half. Redmond actually flicks on towards the halfway line, although Koscielny beats Armstrong to the ball. Loose ball falls, though, for Romeo. And now Højbjerg takes over. Outside of the boot pass is just giving it straight to Arsenal, though Lichtstein has given it straight back. And Armstrong then caught in possession. Really scrappy at the moment. Armstrong arguably lucky to get a free kick. Mkhitaryan wrong side. Deemed to have fouled him. 4 minutes to go to the break, and Southampton with a free kick on the halfway line. No imminent danger, they're taking it short. Yoshida bringing it forward. I mean, I don't want to sound like I'm having a go at Iwobi and Mkhitaryan in particular, but if you look at their midfield, Guendouzi and Torreira, you'd argue are more solid defenders. The creativity's got to come from someone else. Ball over the top, and Højbjerg's made a run. He controlled it well, but couldn't pass on the turn, although the clearance again is poor, and Southampton have another chance with Valery on the right edge of the box. Almost treads on the ball, does eventually win a corner. A little bit fortunate. He's frustrated with himself. He could have done better, but it is a set piece for Southampton.
It is a set piece. It's a chance to get the big men forward, and they've got 3 big centre-backs here, Bednarek, Vestergaard and Yoshida. It's only the 3rd corner kick of the game. We've had 41.5 minutes. It just shows you there's not been too much happening in terms of set pieces in this game. And it is going to be Stuart Armstrong to take it, right-footed outswinger from the right-hand side.
Yeah, Southampton just edging the corners, 2-1. This being their second, it's taken short to Redmond, who cuts inside his man. Left-footed shot doesn't quite test Leonard because Wobie's in the way. Target has it though and tries to float it out to the corner taker. Although he's giving it straight to Torreira. Is there a break on for the Gunners? Torreira cuts inside Bednarek, then feeds it to Obiang. Just had to wait for the ball momentarily, but Wobie's on his outside in the box. Left-footed cross blocked by Valerie. Wobie racing to get the loose ball and does, so the attack's still alive. With Guendouzi going back towards the halfway line, actually. And now Lichtsteiner, nobody in front of him, starts to come forward. Bellerin hugging the touchline. Back to Lichtsteiner. Back to the halfway line. And Koscielny. And Gunners happy in possession. Xhaka over to Monreal. Back to Xhaka, going away from goal at the moment.
Yeah, it's just there is something missing from this Arsenal team, and I would say that what is missing is an attacking central midfielder. That's what they don't have. They've got two wide men in Mkhitaryan and Iwobi, and although Mkhitaryan scored the goal by playing through the middle, he has been out wide. Now here's a chance for Bellerin from the right-hand side. Yeah,
cross in towards Aubameyang, who peeled away towards the far post. It was a good-looking delivery, but McCarthy had read the danger and intercepts. Now the break is on after a throw-out to Armstrong. Danny Ings has probably not touched the ball since he scored. Collects. Arsenal have actually got plenty behind the ball now. Fast break very much over. 90 seconds to the end of 45. Anyway, as Redmond brings it towards goal, clips it in towards Lings with a shot. Oh, a looping header inside the top corner. Bert Leonard's just the spectator. What a delivery from Redmond. What a header from Ings. Southampton back in front.
Unbelievable. I mean, it's come out of absolutely nowhere, but again, it's Arsenal defending that's letting them down. So very good looping header there from Danny Ings, but the marking would have certainly infuriated Unai Emery there. So just before half-time, we have a third goal at St Mary's, and it is Southampton that take the lead against Arsenal. Southampton have had a lot of possession, but not really be able to create the chances. But on this occasion, it's Nathan Redmond bringing the ball in from the right-hand side. Just a lovely floated ball in towards the middle of the penalty area for Danny Ings, who wasn't well marked at all because Koscielny was too far away from him. Lichtsteiner was behind him, and it's a looping header from Danny Ings right into the top corner. Bernd Leno barely even moved, and Southampton are in front just before half-time.
Yes, Southampton's top scorer with his 6th and 7th goals today. A 7th goal this season is his best for 3 years. Obviously, well, he's had his injury.
I was going to say he spent nearly all of that time out injured, as well as Bellerin now being checked over by the Arsenal physio. But this hoodoo of first halves for Arsenal carries on. Yeah,
they had only been behind 4 times out of 16, but looks like it could be 5 out of 17 now. Drawing, what was my maths? 12?
Yes,
drawing 12.
Excellent, yeah, very good.
Drawing 12 and losing 4 at half-time, but, whatever's happened in the first half, it never quite worked. So, of course, when they went behind, Arsenal started to look more dangerous, got an equaliser, had a couple of half chances after that. But then, as the half wore on, they kind of just retreated back to how they started the game. They haven't restarted the game yet. I don't know what the problem is. Obviously, Bellerin.
I think it might be just to make sure that Bellerin's all right. I think that he's not all right, actually. He's walking off. He's actually inside the Southampton half, walking off with the physio. So there's going to be a change for Arsenal. Even before half-time, we could see one of the substitutes been readied. And we are going to get 2 minutes of injury time, which might even be a little bit longer now. Trying to work out who that is. I think it was Maitland-Niles we could see they're getting ready.
I mean, Lichtsteiner obviously could play at right back, but Maitland-Niles, I suppose, would play at left, or it could move Monreal into the middle. Didn't quite see who actually came on, if somebody did at the time.
Well, no one's gone on now, but Arsenal have kicked off and they've lost the ball. Here comes Southampton straight away on the attack.
Yeah, Danny Ings treads on the board though, just as he's wondering what to do with it, and that's allowed Koscielny to work it back to the keeper, who Koscielny takes a big risk trying to get it back infield to Torreira.
2 players down there now. Ings is down on the ground. The Arsenal man Torreira is back on his feet. Danny Ings though is down holding his left knee. I think that it is a throw to Southampton, but we're getting a bit of a break in play now because of this. Arsenal are still down to 10 men, by the way, because I don't think Bellerin's come back. I'm not sure he will be coming back at all, and we still haven't seen an Arsenal change.
Yeah, not yet, and they're just playing the ball in their own boxes, causing 1 or 2 palpitations, I'm sure, for the Gunners fans who've made the trip, as Xhaka rather clumsily wins the ball back. He kind of fell over, but somehow fell on the ball, and that's allowed him to take it away from Redmond. The clearance is up to the halfway line. An attempted switch of play from Bednarek forces Target running back to the halfway line just to retain the ball. And then he feeds it out to McCarthy outside his box. Oh, plays a blind pass inside. That's awful from Target. He's then dragged back Mkhitaryan. Aubameyang has it. Strong challenge comes in from Target to win it back. Then he goes down under the challenge from Mkhitaryan. I mean, what's Target doing there? He's passed it straight to Aubameyang.
Yeah, I mean, he's straight up and he's got his hand up. Matt Target sheepishly apologising there to everybody in a Southampton shirt and potentially all the supporters as well, because I mean he's been very lucky there that because he caught Mkhitaryan. I thought it might have been a foul on Mkhitaryan. The referee didn't give one, but then Mkhitaryan crashed into Target as a bit of retribution, and that's what has given Southampton the free kick. Now we're well over the 2 minutes of injury time. Unai Emery looking a little bit well. He's a lot to think about in these next 15 minutes. Is he going to have to change his right back? Is he going to have to change his formation? As we say, he's got some excellent attacking options, but just as that clearance is made, it's half-time at St Mary. Southampton leading Arsenal by 2-1. Myself and Rob will be back in 15 minutes. Half-time at St Mary's, and it's Southampton 2, Arsenal 1, and Arsenal's bad first half form carries on in this game. It was a slow start from both sides, but Southampton taking the lead after a lovely cross from the left-hand side from Matt Target was met with a bullet header from Danny Ings. Arsenal then equalised from ahead of themselves after good work from Iwobi and Monreal down the left-hand side before Mkhitaryan headed the ball past Alex McCarthy. But then Southampton going in front again. It was a ball coming in from the right-hand side this time. Ings wasn't well marked and he headed it, looping header past Bernd Leno to give Southampton the lead. Half-time at St Mary's, and it's Southampton 2, Arsenal 1, and Arsenal's bad first half form carries on in this game. It was a slow start from both sides, but Southampton taking the lead after a lovely cross from the left-hand side from Matt Target was met with a bullet header from Danny Ings. Arsenal then equalised from ahead of themselves after good work from Iwobi and Monreal down the left-hand side before Mkhitaryan headed the ball past Alex McCarthy. But then Southampton going in front again. It was a ball coming in from the right-hand side this time. Ings wasn't well marked and he headed it, looping header past Bernd Leno to give Southampton the lead. Half-time at St Mary's, and it's Southampton 2, Arsenal 1, and Arsenal's bad first half form carries on in this game. It was a slow start from both sides, but Southampton taking the lead after a lovely cross from the left-hand side from Matt Target was met with a bullet header from Danny Ings. Arsenal then equalised from ahead of themselves after good work from Iwobi and Monreal down the left-hand side before Mkhitaryan headed the ball past Alex McCarthy. But then Southampton going in front again. It was a ball coming in from the right-hand side this time. Ings wasn't well marked and he headed it, looping header past Bernd Leno to give Southampton the lead. Half-time at St Mary's, and it's Southampton 2, Arsenal 1, and Arsenal's bad first half form carries on in this game. It was a slow start from both sides, but Southampton taking the lead after a lovely cross from the left-hand side from Matt Target was met with a bullet header from Danny Ings. Arsenal then equalised from ahead of themselves after good work from Iwobi and Monreal down the left-hand side before Mkhitaryan headed the ball past Alex McCarthy. But then Southampton going in front again. It was a ball coming in from the right-hand side this time. Ings wasn't well marked and he headed it, looping header past Bernd Leno to give Southampton the lead. Half-time at St Mary's, and it's Southampton 2, Arsenal 1, and Arsenal's bad first half form carries on in this game. It was a slow start from both sides, but Southampton taking the lead after a lovely cross from the left-hand side from Matt Target was met with a bullet header from Danny Ings. Arsenal then equalised from ahead of themselves after good work from Iwobi and Monreal down the left-hand side before Mkhitaryan headed the ball past Alex McCarthy. But then Southampton going in front again. It was a ball coming in from the right-hand side this time. Ings wasn't well marked and he headed it, looping header past Bernd Leno to give Southampton the lead. Half-time at St Mary's, and it's Southampton 2, Arsenal 1, and Arsenal's bad first half form carries on in this game. It was a slow start from both sides, but Southampton taking the lead after a lovely cross from the left-hand side from Matt Target was met with a bullet header from Danny Ings. Arsenal then equalised from ahead of themselves after good work from Iwobi and Monreal down the left-hand side before Mkhitaryan headed the ball past Alex McCarthy. But then Southampton going in front again. It was a ball coming in from the right-hand side this time. Ings wasn't well marked and he headed it, looping header past Bernd Leno to give Southampton the lead. Half-time at St Mary's, and it's Southampton 2, Arsenal 1, and Arsenal's bad first half form carries on in this game. It was a slow start from both sides, but Southampton taking the lead after a lovely cross from the left-hand side from Matt Targett was met with a bullet header from Danny Ings. Arsenal then equalised from ahead of themselves after good work from Iwobi and Monreal down the left-hand side before Mkhitaryan headed the ball past Alex McCarthy. But then Southampton going in front again. It was a ball coming in from the right-hand side this time. Ings wasn't well marked and he headed it, looping header past Bernd Leno to give Southampton the lead. Half-time at St Mary's, and it's Southampton 2, Arsenal 1, and Arsenal's bad first half form carries on in this game. It was a slow start from both sides, but Southampton taking the lead after a lovely cross from the left-hand side from Matt Targett was met with a bullet header from Danny Ings. Arsenal then equalised from ahead of themselves after good work from Iwobi and Monreal down the left-hand side before Mkhitaryan headed the ball past Alex McCarthy. But then Southampton going in front again. It was a ball coming in from the right-hand side this time. Ings wasn't well marked and he headed it, looping header past Bernd Leno to give Southampton the lead. Half-time at St Mary's, and it's Southampton 2, Arsenal 1, and Arsenal's bad first half form carries on in this game. It was a slow start from both sides, but Southampton taking the lead after a lovely cross from the left-hand side from Matt Targett was met with a bullet header from Danny Ings. Arsenal then equalised from ahead of themselves after good work from Iwobi and Monreal down the left-hand side before Mkhitaryan headed the ball past Alex McCarthy. But then Southampton going in front again. It was a ball coming in from the right-hand side this time. Ings wasn't well marked and he headed it, looping header past Bernd Leno to give Southampton the lead. Half-time at St Mary's, and it's Southampton 2, Arsenal 1, and Arsenal's bad first half form carries on in this game. It was a slow start from both sides, but Southampton taking the lead after a lovely cross from the left-hand side from Matt Targett was met with a bullet header from Danny Ings. Arsenal then equalised from ahead of themselves after good work from Iwobi and Monreal down the left-hand side before Mkhitaryan headed the ball past Alex McCarthy. But then Southampton going in front again. It was a ball coming in from the right-hand side this time. Ings wasn't well marked and he headed it, looping header past Bernd Leno to give Southampton the lead. Half-time at St Mary's, and it's Southampton 2, Arsenal 1, and Arsenal's bad first half form carries on in this game. It was a slow start from both sides, but Southampton taking the lead after a lovely cross from the left-hand side from Matt Targett was met with a bullet header from Danny Ings. Arsenal then equalised from ahead of themselves after good work from Iwobi and Monreal down the left-hand side before Mkhitaryan headed the ball past Alex McCarthy. But then Southampton going in front again. It was a ball coming in from the right-hand side this time. Ings wasn't well marked and he headed it, looping header past Bernd Leno to give Southampton the lead. Half-time at St Mary's, and it's Southampton 2, Arsenal 1, and Arsenal's bad first half form carries on in this game. It was a slow start from both sides, but Southampton taking the lead after a lovely cross from the left-hand side from Matt Targett was met with a bullet header from Danny Ings. Arsenal then equalised from ahead of themselves after good work from Iwobi and Monreal down the left-hand side before Mkhitaryan headed the ball past Alex McCarthy. But then Southampton going in front again. It was a ball coming in from the right-hand side this time. Ings wasn't well marked and he headed it, looping header past Bernd Leno to give Southampton the lead. Half-time at St Mary's, and it's Southampton 2, Arsenal 1, and Arsenal's bad first half form carries on in this game. It was a slow start from both sides, but Southampton taking the lead after a lovely cross from the left-hand side from Matt Targett was met with a bullet header from Danny Ings. Arsenal then equalised from ahead of themselves after good work from Iwobi and Monreal down the left-hand side before Mkhitaryan headed the ball past Alex McCarthy. But then Southampton going in front again. It was a ball coming in from the right-hand side this time. Ings wasn't well marked and he headed it, looping header past Bernd Leno to give Southampton the lead. Half-time at St Mary's, and it's Southampton 2, Arsenal 1, and Arsenal's bad first half form carries on in this game. It was a slow start from both sides, but Southampton taking the lead after a lovely cross from the left-hand side from Matt Targett was met with a bullet header from Danny Ings. Arsenal then equalised from ahead of themselves after good work from Iwobi and Monreal down the left-hand side before Mkhitaryan headed the ball past Alex McCarthy. But then Southampton going in front again. It was a ball coming in from the right-hand side this time. Ings wasn't well marked and he headed it, looping header past Bernd Leno to give Southampton the lead. Half-time at St Mary's, and it's Southampton 2, Arsenal 1, and Arsenal's bad first half form carries on in this game. It was a slow start from both sides, but Southampton taking the lead after a lovely cross from the left-hand side from Matt Targett was met with a bullet header from Danny Ings. Arsenal then equalised from ahead of themselves after good work from Iwobi and Monreal down the left-hand side before Mkhitaryan headed the ball past Alex McCarthy. But then Southampton going in front again. It was a ball coming in from the right-hand side this time. Ings wasn't well marked and he headed it, looping header past Bernd Leno to give Southampton the lead. Half-time at St Mary's, and it's Southampton 2, Arsenal 1, and Arsenal's bad first half form carries on in this game. It was a slow start from both sides, but Southampton taking the lead after a lovely cross from the left-hand side from Matt Targett was met with a bullet header from Danny Ings. Arsenal then equalised from ahead of themselves after good work from Iwobi and Monreal down the left-hand side before Mkhitaryan headed the ball past Alex McCarthy. But then Southampton going in front again. It was a ball coming in from the right-hand side this time. Ings wasn't well marked and he headed it, looping header past Bernd Leno to give Southampton the lead. Half-time at St Mary's, and it's Southampton 2, Arsenal 1, and Arsenal's bad first half form carries on in this game. It was a slow start from both sides, but Southampton taking the lead after a lovely cross from the left-hand side from Matt Targett was met with a bullet header from Danny Ings. Arsenal then equalised from ahead of themselves after good work from Iwobi and Monreal down the left-hand side before Mkhitaryan headed the ball past Alex McCarthy. But then Southampton going in front again. It was a ball coming in from the right-hand side this time. Ings wasn't well marked and he headed it, looping header past Bernd Leno to give Southampton the lead. Half-time at St Mary's, and it's Southampton 2, Arsenal 1, and Arsenal's bad first half form carries on in this game. It was a slow start from both sides, but Southampton taking the lead after a lovely cross from the left-hand side from Matt Targett was met with a bullet header from Danny Ings. Arsenal then equalised from ahead of themselves after good work from Iwobi and Monreal down the left-hand side before Mkhitaryan headed the ball past Alex McCarthy. But then Southampton going in front again. It was a ball coming in from the right-hand side this time. Ings wasn't well marked and he headed it, looping header past Bernd Leno to give Southampton the lead. Half-time at St Mary's, and it's Southampton 2, Arsenal 1, and Arsenal's bad first half form carries on in this game. It was a slow start from both sides, but Southampton taking the lead after a lovely cross from the left-hand side from Matt Targett was met with a bullet header from Danny Ings. Arsenal then equalised from ahead of themselves after good work from Iwobi and Monreal down the left-hand side before Mkhitaryan headed the ball past Alex McCarthy. But then Southampton going in front again. It was a ball coming in from the right-hand side this time. Ings wasn't well marked and he headed it, looping header past Bernd Leno to give Southampton the lead. Half-time at St Mary's, and it's Southampton 2, Arsenal 1, and Arsenal's bad first half form carries on in this game. It was a slow start from both sides, but Southampton taking the lead after a lovely cross from the left-hand side from Matt Targett was met with a bullet header from Danny Ings. Arsenal then equalised from ahead of themselves after good work from Iwobi and Monreal down the left-hand side before Mkhitaryan headed the ball past Alex McCarthy. But then Southampton going in front again. It was a ball coming in from the right-hand side this time. Ings wasn't well marked and he headed it, looping header past Bernd Leno to give Southampton the lead. Half-time at St Mary's, and it's Southampton 2, Arsenal 1, and Arsenal's bad first half form carries on in this game. It was a slow start from both sides, but Southampton taking the lead after a lovely cross from the left-hand side from Matt Targett was met with a bullet header from Danny Ings. Arsenal then equalised from ahead of themselves after good work from Iwobi and Monreal down the left-hand side before Mkhitaryan headed the ball past Alex McCarthy. But then Southampton going in front again. It was a ball coming in from the right-hand side this time. Ings wasn't well marked and he headed it, looping header past Bernd Leno to give Southampton the lead. Half-time at St Mary's, and it's Southampton 2, Arsenal 1, and Arsenal's bad first half form carries on in this game. It was a slow start from both sides, but Southampton taking the lead after a lovely cross from the left-hand side from Matt Targett was met with a bullet header from Danny Ings. Arsenal then equalised from ahead of themselves after good work from Iwobi and Monreal down the left-hand side before Mkhitaryan headed the ball past Alex McCarthy. But then Southampton going in front again. It was a ball coming in from the right-hand side this time. Ings wasn't well marked and he headed it, looping header past Bernd Leno to give Southampton the lead. Half-time at St Mary's, and it's Southampton 2, Arsenal 1, and Arsenal's bad first half form carries on in this game. It was a slow start from both sides, but Southampton taking the lead after a lovely cross from the left-hand side from Matt Targett was met with a bullet header from Danny Ings. Arsenal then equalised from ahead of themselves after good work from Iwobi and Monreal down the left-hand side before Mkhitaryan headed the ball past Alex McCarthy. But then Southampton going in front again. It was a ball coming in from the right-hand side this time. Ings wasn't well marked and he headed it, looping header past Bernd Leno to give Southampton the lead. Half-time at St Mary's, and it's Southampton 2, Arsenal 1, and Arsenal's bad first half form carries on in this game. It was a slow start from both sides, but Southampton taking the lead after a lovely cross from the left-hand side from Matt Targett was met with a bullet header from Danny Ings. Arsenal then equalised from ahead of themselves after good work from Iwobi and Monreal down the left-hand side before Mkhitaryan headed the ball past Alex McCarthy. But then Southampton going in front again. It was a ball coming in from the right-hand side this time. Ings wasn't well marked and he headed it, looping header past Bernd Leno to give Southampton the lead. Half-time at St Mary's, and it's Southampton 2, Arsenal 1, and Arsenal's bad first half form carries on in this game. It was a slow start from both sides, but Southampton taking the lead after a lovely cross from the left-hand side from Matt Targett was met with a bullet header from Danny Ings. Arsenal then equalised from ahead of themselves after good work from Iwobi and Monreal down the left-hand side before Mkhitaryan headed the ball past Alex McCarthy. But then Southampton going in front again. It was a ball coming in from the right-hand side this time. Ings wasn't well marked and he headed it, looping header past Bernd Leno to give Southampton the lead. Half-time at St Mary's, and it's Southampton 2, Arsenal 1, and Arsenal's bad first half form carries on in this game. It was a slow start from both sides, but Southampton taking the lead after a lovely cross from the left-hand side from Matt Targett was met with a bullet header from Danny Ings. Arsenal then equalised from ahead of themselves after good work from Iwobi and Monreal down the left-hand side before Mkhitaryan headed the ball past Alex McCarthy. But then Southampton going in front again. It was a ball coming in from the right-hand side this time. Ings wasn't well marked and he headed it, looping header past Bernd Leno to give Southampton the lead. Half-time at St Mary's, and it's Southampton 2, Arsenal 1, and Arsenal's bad first-half form carries on in this game. It was a slow start from both sides, but Southampton taking the lead after a lovely cross from the left-hand side from Matt Targett was met with a bullet header from Danny Ings. Arsenal then equalised from ahead of themselves after good work from Iwobi and Monreal down the left-hand side before Mkhitaryan headed the ball past Alex McCarthy. But then Southampton going in front again. It was a ball coming in from the right-hand side this time. Ings wasn't well marked and he headed it, looping header past Bernd Leno to give Southampton the lead. Half-time at St Mary's, and it's Southampton 2, Arsenal 1, and Arsenal's bad first-half form carries on in this game. It was a slow start from both sides, but Southampton taking the lead after a lovely cross from the left-hand side from Matt Targett was met with a bullet header from Danny Ings. Arsenal then equalised from ahead of themselves after good work from Iwobi and Monreal down the left-hand side before Mkhitaryan headed the ball past Alex McCarthy. But then Southampton going in front again. It was a ball coming in from the right-hand side this time. Ings wasn't well marked and he headed it, looping header past Bernd Leno to give Southampton the lead. Half-time at St Mary's, and it's Southampton 2, Arsenal 1, and Arsenal's bad first-half form carries on in this game. It was a slow start from both sides, but Southampton taking the lead after a lovely cross from the left-hand side from Matt Targett was met with a bullet header from Danny Ings. Arsenal then equalised from ahead of themselves after good work from Iwobi and Monreal down the left-hand side before Mkhitaryan headed the ball past Alex McCarthy. But then Southampton going in front again. It was a ball coming in from the right-hand side this time. Ings wasn't well marked and he headed it, looping header past Bernd Leno to give Southampton the lead. Half-time at St Mary's, and it's Southampton 2, Arsenal 1, and Arsenal's bad first-half form carries on in this game. It was a slow start from both sides, but Southampton taking the lead after a lovely cross from the left-hand side from Matt Targett was met with a bullet header from Danny Ings. Arsenal then equalised from ahead of themselves after good work from Iwobi and Monreal down the left-hand side before Mkhitaryan headed the ball past Alex McCarthy. But then Southampton going in front again. It was a ball coming in from the right-hand side this time. Ings wasn't well marked and he headed it, looping header past Bernd Leno to give Southampton the lead. Half-time at St Mary's, and it's Southampton 2, Arsenal 1, and Arsenal's bad first-half form carries on in this game. It was a slow start from both sides, but Southampton taking the lead after a lovely cross from the left-hand side from Matt. Well, we're back then for second half for independent off-tube studio commentary from the game at St Mary's. It is Southampton leading Arsenal by 2-1, which it's a bit of a surprising result, although when you consider that Arsenal famously don't play particularly well in first halves this season, perhaps it's no surprise that they're not winning, but the fact that they're losing would have been a surprise considering that Southampton took the lead. Arsenal got an equaliser fairly quickly. And then a strong end to the game, so a strong end to the half from Southampton, and a second header from Danny Ings putting the Saints in front. But Arsenal on the attack straight away at the start of this second half. There was a change for Arsenal as well. We'll just run you through the two sides very quickly. But in the moment, it's a great chance for Arsenal straight away. A ball breaking into the box. Aubameyang's in there, and it's just about saved by McCarthy. He still goes under his body before the ball is cleared away. There is an Arsenal man down inside the box. I don't think there's any suggestion of a foul, but there is an Arsenal player in trouble. I think it's Monreal who burst into the box from that left-hand side. In the meantime, the Gunners have gone all the way back to the halfway line, and they're probably going to put the ball out of play themselves now, as Monreal is going to be checked out. So this gives us a chance to remind you of the two sides. No changes for Southampton, so it is Alex McCarthy in goal, a back three of Jan Bednarek, Yannick Vestergaard and Maya Yoshida. Four across the middle with Jan Valeri, Pierre Højbjerg, Oriol Romeo and Matt Targett. The two further forward midfielders are Nathan Redmond and Stuart Armstrong, with Danny Ings as the lone striker. The two goals he scored for Southampton. Now, Aubameyang's shot was saved there by McCarthy before it deflected back to Aubameyang, and he couldn't quite tuck it in with the defenders rushing back to stop him. I don't think he knew too much about it, really, just sort of knocked off his thigh. And Valeri there just clashing with Monreal, but I don't think there was too much wrong with that.
Yeah, looking at the chance, though, I think Bednarek again has done just about enough. You're thinking Aubameyang's got the start on him, but it's a sliding. They're meeting the ball at the same kind of time, so I don't think Aubameyang quite could lift it over the onrushing McCarthy. But that's a big chance at the start of the second half. I mean, the back four is all over the place, and Bednarek's got about 5 yards to make up, arguably because he's out of position. But I think it's a great recovery, and it keeps Southampton in the lead. It
certainly does. The Arsenal 11, there has been one change. Bernd Leno is in goal. Now, what they're going to do in defence, it's a little bit unclear at the moment, because Hector Bellerin has gone off, but he's been replaced by Alexandre Lacazette. So it looks as though we're going to get Granit Xhaka playing in defence, whether he's playing. I think he's gone to centre-back with Koscielny, and Lichtsteiner's gone to the right. So it's going to be Stefan Lichtsteiner on the right with Laurent Koscielny and Granit Xhaka in the middle and Nacho Monreal on the left. The three in midfield, the two in midfield, I suppose, now going to be Lucas Torreira and Matteo Guendouzi. The attacking three is going to be Henrik Mkhitaryan, Alexandre Lacazette and Alex Iwobi, with Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang up front, or it may well be that it's Mkhitaryan and Iwobi out wide, and Lacazette and Aubameyang are the two up front now.
Yeah, I mean, it does look like it's a back four with Xhaka just playing there. Monreal looks like he's got no problems. I wonder if he's just trying to win a penalty at the other end, but they don't want him going off. I suppose Maitland-Niles could fill in that regard, but I mean, defensively they need reinforcements. Well, they certainly can't afford another injury. I like Lacazette being on. Obviously, they've got to go for it in a sense. They don't have many defensive options on the bench, so they have to do something.
They certainly did, yeah, you're right about that. And we'll see now how Arsenal respond as they're in possession deep inside their own half now with this makeshift centre-back Granit Xhaka. He rolls it to Monreal on the left-hand side. Long ball from him over the top, looking for Aubameyang. He's onside. The ball just about stays in place from him as well. He's been marked there by Yoshida, but he gets an early cross in, which is hooked away by the returning Højbjerg. Ball now back on the halfway line. Chance for Ings to go forward. He couldn't quite control it, but he's still able to get it back to Højbjerg. And now a long clearance from Target all the way towards the edge of the Arsenal penalty area. Leno is out of his box, heading that one back into play. And dispossessed on the halfway line there was Mkhitaryan. So Southampton have it back now with Romeu, just under pressure from two Arsenal players. Plays it square now to Armstrong. Armstrong up towards Redmond, back to Stuart Armstrong. Good work there though from Torreira to win that back for Arsenal. He plays it up to Lacazette, who rolls it back to Iwobi, and Arsenal can go on the attack now. Iwobi moving forward, getting towards the penalty area, but forced to stop his run and go back to Guendouzi. Guendouzi now skipping away from two players. They're feeded into Mkhitaryan, who then has the support on the right hand side from Lichtsteiner. Lichtsteiner's ball into the box is deflected by Vestergaard, comes back off for Lichtsteiner, and I think the referee is going to make McCarthy take this goal kick because he wanted to throw the ball out early, but it did actually deflect off Lichtsteiner out for a goal kick.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose that's the benefit of having three centre-backs, because Target I didn't think needed to come in there so much, and it did leave the door open for Lichtsteiner down the right-hand side. Could have been better because he wasn't under any pressure, didn't beat the first man, so unfortunately it's ricocheted back off him and out behind for a goal kick, but not quite as good as it perhaps could have been for Arsenal there. But already they're on top possession-wise. They're obviously going to be aggressive in this second half. It might leave the door open for Southampton, but we know goals are a problem for them, and I'm not sure they keep many teams out either.
No, they don't, as you say, and that is going to be something that is going to be on the mind of manager Ralph Hasenhüttl, that's without a doubt. 50 minutes gone here at St Mary's. It is 2-1 to Southampton against Arsenal, and the ball now going back towards Arsenal goalkeeper Bernd Leno. He plays it out towards the right-hand side. And an opportunity now for the visitors to try and just keep a bit of possession. So far, it's been a fairly good start here from Arsenal, but they would like to just get that little bit of that more, little bit more of the possession in attack as well. Yeah,
and I'd like to see a little bit more from Mkhitaryan and Iwobi. To be honest, as I say, I don't want to just have a go at them, but they've got two up front now, so there's going to be less protection for Guendouzi and Torreira. Yellow card comes in for Bednarek. It's a nice turn from Lacazette, and Bednarek couldn't help himself. Obviously took out the Frenchman. Free kick on the halfway line. First yellow card of the game, though. And that'll make him worried because he's had to put in 2 or 3 last-ditch efforts in.
Yes, he has. And, I mean, he's needed to put those challenges in, as you say. But I suppose it's always an occupational hazard for a centre-back. You're always going to get into some sort of situation where you might have to put in a challenge. And that's precisely what's happened there. The referee has decided that it is going to be a booking. And the visitors now back in possession.
Yeah, ball over the top, but Bednarek and the no pressure will clear, and I think he's cleared it off for Iwobi as well, and so that'll be a throw in to Southampton. Halfway inside their own half, with about 7 minutes gone in the second half. Not much goal threat being shown by Southampton. Of course, that chance for Aubameyang, I think it's a pretty good chance, so credit to Bednarek for keeping him out. But I think Southampton are going to have to weather a storm.
And it's over towards Lacazette now, moving forward. He gets to the edge of the area, goes back to Mkhitaryan. Mkhitaryan with the shot. It takes a big deflection, and it's in the back of the net. It's 2-2. A huge slice of luck there for Arsenal. Huge slice of bad luck there for Hasenhüttl. Sort of turns towards the supporters with his head in his hands. He can't believe it. Vestergaard is furious there because I think he has deflected off him. And with the modern own goal rules, it may well be that it's given to him rather than to Mkhitaryan. It's Vestergaard who heads it away. Romeu then gets caught in possession at the edge of of his own box. Combination of Guendouzi and Lacazette taking it off him, and then a strike from a Mkhitaryan. It sort of nutmegs Vestergaard and completely wrong foots McCarthy.
Well, what Southampton don't want to do is shoot themselves in the foot. That's exactly what they've done there, although Redmond's straight back down the other end in the Arsenal box, getting to the byline cross, blocked away, and Lichtsteiner clears. But giving away on the edge of your own box is just stupid. It's best just to pump it into Rosed, and of course, yeah, there is a bit of fortune about it, but Romeo's at fault.
We have an equaliser at St Mary's early in the second half. It's Southampton 2, Arsenal 2, and it's Henrik Mkhitaryan with the strike, although it may well be given ultimately as an own goal because it was Oriol Romeu for Southampton who gets caught in possession at the edge of his own box. Lacazette and Guendouzi dispossessing him. The ball then played to Mkhitaryan, and his strike from the edge of the area was going straight down the middle, but it deflects off Vestergaard's foot and completely deceives goalkeeper Alex McCarthy and just rolls into the net. Ralph Hasenhüttl looking furious on the side there. A real slice of bad luck for Southampton. It's now Southampton 2, Arsenal 2.
Could be a chance for a third as well as Aubameyang down the left channel onto his right foot. He's just running into a bit of traffic. Little back heel towards Iwobi, who went for the curler, couldn't keep it down. And that's over the bar behind.
Great opportunity that for Alex Iwobi, and he would have been frustrated there that he wasn't able to take advantage of it. As we see, it's again Southampton just forced to track back, and when this ball reaches Aubameyang, he looks up and he backheels it to Iwobi. I mean, he's got to take a shot on it. That's the only thing he should do, really, but unfortunately for him, it goes over the bar.
Yeah, honestly, at times, just looking at this game, think there's very little communication going on at the back for Southampton. Obviously, Arsenal have looked dangerous a couple of other times. We've talked about Bednarek's last couple of last-ditch interventions, but I mean, the line's not the same. They don't communicate with the full-backs. It doesn't appear because nobody's tracking their runners. Aubameyang is in space. I mean, it's just quite ridiculous at the edge of the box. Yes, Body's then got back, but nobody's marking Iwobi. Valerie's now playing in a central position as Aubameyang beats two defenders to the ball. No support at the moment, but it is arriving. He still has it. Eventually showed too much to Vestergaard, who runs it into touch. But all of a sudden, the Southampton defensive problems are coming to light.
They really are, and Hasenhüttl knows that his side have got a real problem. They're bottom of the league in terms of points dropped from winning positions this season. They've already dropped 12 from positions where they've been in front, and I say just give them half of those points and their league position would be a lot better. They'd be at least sort of 14th or 15th now, as opposed to the 19th position that they have. There's no danger of them dropping to the last place in the league today because their goal difference is still better than Fulham's. It's not great, it's minus 17, but Fulham's is minus 26. And in the meantime, we've got a corner kick here to Arsenal's own Lichtsteiner moving down the right-hand side. His run was stopped. Ball deflects out for a corner. 55 minutes gone. 2-2 at St Mary's between Southampton and Arsenal. In the other Premier League game, it's still Brighton 0, Chelsea 2. They're a couple of minutes ahead of us in that game because we had a bit more injury time in the first half. But it's going to be Lucas Torreira, the little Uruguayan, to send an outswinger towards the edge of the area. It's going to drop here to Xhaka. Xhaka hits it on the volley, but he wanted too much time there. That was a hanging ball, which meant that Southampton defenders had time to come out, and it's Bednarek again with the block. Yeah,
I think it went that first time looks more spectacular anyway, but yeah, it perhaps didn't quite get into the right position initially. I mean, it still sat up quite nicely once he'd controlled it, but obviously it had given defenders time to come out and close him down. We haven't seen much of Southampton going forward. I mean, I think it was not long after the goal, Højbjerg got caught in possession around the centre circle and led to another Arsenal attack. They're just dwelling in possession too much, really, at the moment. Ings has barely seen the ball, let alone touched it in this second half, and they're under pressure. I just can't see this defence holding out.
No, I can't either. I must admit that we've still got a long way to go in this second half. A bit of a clash there between Lichtsteiner and Redmond off the ball, but we play on. It's a chance now for Mkhitaryan down the right-hand side, stopped by Vestergaard, and then hooked away by Matt Target. The ball's back on the halfway line. Redmond and Lichtsteiner coming together again. Referee deciding that both players were holding on to each other. That's the sort of sign language I could read from Mr. Kavanagh. And it's now Arsenal pushing forward down the left-hand side. And Monreal to Iwobi, back to Nacho Monreal, getting towards the edge of the penalty area, but being blocked off there by Valeri, so he goes back in towards Guendouzi, then a switch ball from Guendouzi out towards the right-hand side. First time pass from Lichtsteiner to Mkhitaryan, back to Stefan Lichtsteiner. Swiss international now trying to get a ball in from the right-hand side. He deflects that off target. Both players have got their arms up saying they want a corner kick or a goal kick, and Lichtsteiner, with his usual animated style there, is furious to find that it's not been given as a corner kick, just a goal kick to Southampton. Interesting enough, looking at a couple of updates, a couple of sort of scores websites, they've all given the goal to Mkhitaryan so far, which I wonder if that's going to be changed in time, because of course the last couple of years the dubious goals panel have been a little bit more severe in terms of deflections, and I thought that without Vestergaard's deflection, of course, then McCarthy makes the save there.
Yeah, I mean, that's if it's on target. I mean, he's left-footed, so it's arcing away. I mean, it probably is on target, but I mean, it's got to, in my opinion, it's got to go down as an own goal, because, like you say, it was a dribbler, really. And it's going to sound silly, obviously, but I still don't think he's doing enough. To me, all he's done in this game is score 2 goals, and one of those was deflected. Any build-up, he's not involved in.
No, I mean,
at least Iwobi is showing up, taking on players. Yeah. Mkhitaryan's just stood there and he scored 2 goals.
But it just shows you that the expectations of an attacking midfielder are very high, because, of course, if there was a number 9 who'd done nothing in the game other than scored 2 goals, you'd say that he's having a good game. But I agree with you that Mkhitaryan, because of what we know he's capable of in terms of creating play, in terms of linking midfield with attack, you would expect a little bit more from the Armenian. But that is his 3rd goal in 6 games, and even the TV pictures that we're getting have suggested that it is Mkhitaryan's goal, although that may well be amended later on, which of course is quite significant in terms of potential bets on a next goal scorer, where there's an own goal going to be scored, etc. So that will be quite important to some of our listeners, I'm sure. But in the meantime, Southampton have won the ball back in midfield, and there is a chance now to push forward down the right-hand side. Højbjerg rolling it to Valeri. Valeri's ball in, and Leno's made a bit of a mess of that. He's not been able to claim it. And his target with a strike from the left-hand edge of the penalty area, which is blocked off. An opportunity now potentially for Arsenal to go on the counter, because Lacazette rolled the ball back to Guendouzi. It's back with Lacazette now on the right-hand side. He crosses the halfway line and plays a huge ball over towards Aubameyang, but that's a calm header from Bednarek back towards goalkeeper Alex McCarthy. And Southampton can now start again inside their own half, with Højbjerg out towards the left-hand side now for Matt Targett. Targett playing a ball over the top, looking for Redmond, who is brought down at the edge of the area by Laurent Koscielny. He's got his arm up saying, well, I've done nothing wrong there, ref, but the referee, Mr. Kavanagh, has other ideas, and it's going to be a booking for Koscielny as well. Yeah,
it'd be interesting to see on a replay, actually. He's made the run in behind. Now, is there contact?
I don't know how much of this is intentional, if any of it is intentional. I mean, Redmond actually stopping his run, but he does get trodden on there by Koscielny, so I suppose in that sense you could say that the referee can sort of show why he has given Koscielny the booking.
It seems a bit harsh. It's a yellow card, though, to me. But
I think so.
He did actually knee him in the thigh as well.
He did. I think
it's entirely accidental.
It is.